upgrading some of my electronics on my boat. So I had a previous bass boat that I'm transferring some of the graphs and transducers and stuff like that from that boat to this new Targa. I have a 93 SV that I'm going to be putting on the dash in place of the Lowrance that was on there. It was a Hook 7. That was what they came with factory on this boat. The transducer is what a lot of people have actually been asking to follow my progress on this, because they did not make it easy to get rid of the old or the brand new Lowrance transducer that was on this boat, so that I could upgrade to my well, basically to the transducer that went to the Garmin for these 93s. I've got a LiveScope that I took off the other boat and I put on here, but of course the LiveScope transducer, I'm not putting it on my trolling motor, because I'm not a big fan of putting it at the bottom of those things when it's spot locking, because it keeps moving back and forth. So I've actually got one of these things here. It's a fishing specialty transducer pole. I've got the LiveScope transducer mounted to the bottom of that. I did have to get some hardware to modify it to the VersaTrack system on this thing. Anyway, that's where the transducer is going to be for the LiveScope. And here is the one that came off this boat. And they did not make it easy, let me tell you, my friends. Well, first off, I'll show you. This is the one that I had on my other boat. I've already got that mounted on here. And I'm going to tell you how I got this thing out of this boat and keeping the wire all intact. It was not that easy, but in case anybody wants to upgrade, I would have loved to be able to find this information, so I'm hoping that this can be helpful to somebody else. To get this thing out of here, first off, everything feeds through these. But on this boat here, you've got this extra boot that was empty. So I took the new cable going to the transducer and I routed it through here. Now the way that I got it routed through here is, first off, there's a side panel. You see that little click light? That side panel, I popped it off. There are 6 screws that hold it on. Now on my boat, this is a 23. As soon as I pop that off, I had 8 to 10 inches of foam that was blown in here, I guess, back when they were building it. So everybody keeps telling me, just take this little panel off and you'll be able to access your wires. Maybe that's the way it was on older boats. But if you're going to do this yourself, you're going to find out that the wall is full of foam back here behind this board. So I still had to take that off. This side board right here, this one, I popped it off. And there's just a half a dozen screws at the top and at the bottom, top and bottom all the way down. All I did was I took this thing off just down to where the speaker cover is, and I'll tell you the speaker cover in a second. But I took this thing all the way off just down to there, and then I bent it outwards. And when it bends out from the wall probably out to about here. It doesn't come all the way off. So between the gap that's right here, it probably, somewhere right in here, about halfway is what it bent out. The reason I'm telling you that is because all the wires that they run through this wall, including the transducer wire, these things about every 1.5 feet, 2 feet, they've got it zip tied together all the way down, even all the way down to the curve. So to access that, I had to take these 2 side panels off, Then I was able to get some snips and a snip, and honestly there was about 4 that I was able to snip off of those cables, the bunches, so that when I pulled this thing out through that boot that it was running through, it would actually pull all the way back out, because I couldn't do it. I was spending like an hour and I couldn't get past all of those zip ties. So I had to snip them off, or I had to cut the cable like people suggested that they did. They said, I'll just cut the cable and get a new one. Well, these things cost, that cable by itself for that transducer was $143 brand new. And it still is brand new. It's never been used yet. So I'm going to still keep that and put it with the Lowrance, and somebody else can benefit instead of me having to spend over $100 to get another transducer for that thing. So anyway, I just a thick wire. I ran it through that boot right there, and there's a little bit of a 90-degree curve in this corner, and the boot kind of is a boot that goes all the way through. Well, all the way to this, all the way through this thing here, you're going to see the wall. If you can see the wall right there. Behind that wall is a metal plate, and that metal plate goes all the way down. So that rubber boot goes through the back deck, or underneath the back deck, curves into a 90, but it's still in a boot, and it comes out right at the wall of that metal, the metal wall that's behind that that carpet wall that's right there. So you have to get something that's sturdy enough to go through here to be able to come out underneath, accessing it over here. That's why I had to take that the wall panels off, those two there. By taking those two off, then after I ran a wire through there, I was able to see it, and I grabbed it, tied a string to it, pulled it back through the boot, excuse me, and then I was able to tie the new transducer cable onto it, pull that thing through, and then I was able to not have to snip any of these old wires, and it all came together pretty decently. Excuse me. What I did though is I ran an extra string through that booted area. So even though I've got the transducer cable going through there, and there it is, it's all bunched up on top. So I've got an additional string that's also tucked away up under there, and you can probably even see it, the white string tied off. I've just got it tied off to a little tube. But that is an additional string in case I need to run anything else from the back of the boat through that tunnel and through the wall. Now I don't have to take these wall panels off. I can just use the string that I've got tied on. Excuse me. And to keep it secured in place, all I did was I just tied a little piece off right here to a zip tie. The zip tie comes with the boat. So that just keeps it in place so that I've got one end secured at both. I'm sorry, I have both ends secured at opposite sides of this of the panel. Anyway, that part is all done. So now I've got the cable here, this panel where the shifter is. It's easily just picks right back up. It screws into the wall. These are the kind of screws that you're going to encounter that go back into this wall, into this padded wall. Speaker box, too easy. All that is just some simple little black screws down here at the bottom. They held that thing into place. That literally came out, you know, that's probably one of the easiest things that I was able to pop off, no problem at all. So now that I've got my transducer cable running through the wall and just kind of sitting up here right now, I'll finish running it behind the speaker, and it's going to come down underneath my dash. because under the dash, here's where the old, that's where the old one came out at. So I've got a new ram, or I got a ram mount, and this is the hookup that was on my other boat. I'll just take that and replace that where the Lowrance was. And then I'll end up putting my network cable in here and all that good stuff. So it'll go underneath the boat, or going underneath the steering wheel. Coming around this side, up under here, you've got a lip. So it's easy. In the back, you don't. The wall is flush with the VersaTrack. So there is no lip that you can secure a cable to. Over here, if you want to tuck a cable up underneath there and just secure it so that it's out of the way, you've got that option. I may do that with this cable, which this is the one that goes to the LiveScope. So I may just take it and run it underneath this just to the front. Now this right here is the front board. If you can see it. That's just the front board that holds, you know, all the wiring and good stuff like that. But anyway, I popped it down because I've got another Garmin set up here for another 93 that's going to go up here in the front of the boat. I'm not going to try to drill any holes. So this VersaTrack right here up next to the carpet, that's where I'm going to be. I've got a VersaTrack bracket that I'm going to be putting in the track. And that bracket is going to secure this Garmin into place. So I'm not going to be drilling any holes or anything into the deck. It literally will just go right there, and I can get in and out of the boat no problem without hitting it. So I've got a nice little tunnel that I can walk through. So that's why all this is down for right now. This is where I am putting these things. So I have got my Garmin black box right there, and I've got my network box. Sorry if I'm flipping my phone all around here. I'm trying not to make everybody too dizzy. So yeah, network box, black box for the Garmin. I didn't drill any holes at all, guys. All it is this panel has got like a little bit of a gap. So all I did was I ran a wire through that gap, and it came out right here when I pulled that panel down from the front. So now I've got a piece of string that I guided through there so that I've got something that I can, if I need to run any kind of a cable at all, this will be a setup just like the one in the back. I'll have an additional piece of string so that if I have to run something, it's just going to be easy access. But I've already ran the wires for the Garmin black box and this network box all the way up through the front here. It's going to be pretty easy because all it is there's my, that's going to be my power cable, and the Panoptics, which basically is just your network cable. I've already got those plugged into it, so those are going to be coming down, and those are what's going into that box down there. So I know this is a little bit of a long video, but I've had a lot of people that have not crossed the bridge yet on the problems that I've encountered, and I wanted to share with everybody what I was going to be able to go through and what can help somebody else if they're trying to update their electronics or update their transducers on these boats. They literally filled the walls up on most of these things with foam. Not everywhere, but the areas that you really want to access that everybody told me was wide open was not wide open. They filled it with foam. So I could get in there and cut it all out with a knife. But I'm like, there's got to be a different way to do this. And so that's what I did. I, without chopping it and making the cables all visible, that's what I did. So please leave, if you've got a question that I didn't answer, hit me up on the comment. I'll be more than happy, because I'm sure I probably forgot something, guys. I'll be more than happy to break something down of what bridge I crossed to try to get some of this wiring done. I could have paid hundreds of dollars for somebody to do this. I know. And honestly, they probably would have done it faster than what I did too, because I am such an amateur, it's not even funny. But instead of me wasting several $100s for somebody to do this, I had time to knock this out, and I wanted to do it and show everybody else what I went through. So there you are. I'll have some other projects that I'm going to be doing pretty soon, and updating my trolling motor here real soon. So there you are with the electronics and the 293s that I've got networked onto this boat now, or I will shortly after that. So if you don't mind, hit me up on a comment. Like I said, subscribe and like so that I can build this up a little bit, because I'm getting ready to get serious with some hybrid fish real soon. And I'll talk to you about some of the shortcuts and tricks that I've put on this boat that are going to draw them into this boat too. So you guys have a good day. Thanks.